Boom, we are live. Anthony Manzon is in the house. What's up, my friend?
What's up, Derek?
Good to have you. This quote is a big deal. We're going to talk about several things today. How to hit your goals. We're going to get into the Chula Vista housing market. We've got a hot property that's hitting the market tomorrow. So we're going to get to all those things. But let's start with the quote here. Because this is huge. I mean, this is epic stuff.
Let's jump into it?
Yeah, go for it.
Here's the quote. All right. I thought you were going to cue me in. Here's the quote.
There it is. There's your cue.
The quote. You ready for it?
Yes.
You do not decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future.
So this is massive. And we've talked about in the past sort of, routines that people can get into. And that's what a habit is, right? Habits are routine. And you create good ones or bad ones. It's that simple. But everyone has them. Everyone has habits. Some people might smoke, bad habit, right? Other people might work out in the morning. Good habit.
Some people hit snooze.
That's
on
right.
their phone. Even small habits can either bring you towards your goal or away from it.
Bring you towards your goal or away from your goal. Another way to look at it too, right? Because at the end of the day, so what do you take away from that particular quote?
Yeah, so when I see this quote, the way I see it is another quote that I quotes go through my mind all the time, and it goes along with act your wage. Whatever money you want to make, whatever your goal you want to hit, you have to act like that person. You have to have the habits that that person you envision has in order to hit that goal. So it's not that you could just wake up and decide, you know what, I'm going to be the CEO of my own company no matter what. But your habits are those of somebody who is not the CEO of a company. It's just not going to happen. So in order to get to your big why, whatever your goal is, to lose 100 pounds, to gain 100 pounds of muscle, whatever your habit is, you have to encompass those habits in order to hit your goal.
Yeah, so you have to really take a look at what your goal is and then adapt your habits to it so that you're marching towards it instead of away from it. Gary Vaynerchuk, I don't know if you follow Gary Vee at all much?
I do.
So he's big on this. I think most of his audience is sort of kind of like the millennial complainy type people. At least that's what I got from it.
Okay.
Because that seems to be who he's always talking to. Like
True. Yeah, you're right.
Complaining millennials or something. And so, but that's a big thing for him is, you say you want to do all these things. You say you want to be successful. You say this, you say that, yet you're spending 4 hours playing video games every day. What are you doing? I understand you have to work a full-time job to pay your bills and it's hard to work towards it, but go work your job and then spend 4 hours working towards your goals instead of playing video games. And so he says stuff like that all the time. What I really like about this is that it reminds you to, first of all, take inventory of your habits. What am I doing? Take a look at it. See what it is. Because, look on a day in, day out basis. What are you doing? And then also say, where are those habits taking me? Because if those are what's deciding my future, they're taking me somewhere. And then how do I create new ones? And this goes a lot, how to hit your goals, which is what originally we were going to title this segment, how to hit your goals. That's really how to do it, isn't it?
And I think one thing to add too is look at the people that you want to be like and find out what their habits are and just encompass their habits. If you do what they do, you'll naturally start to have what they have. Like for an example, let's say your goal is to have 5% body fat. I guarantee you those habits of those people that have 5% body fat are way different than the people who have goals of having 7% body fat or even 10% body fat. Like the difference, even if it's just 1%, might be so small, and yet the difference between those high achievers and the mediocre achievers are sometimes even as small as having 1 cookie a day or pressing snooze 1 extra time a day. That's the difference between the high-end performers and the mediocre people.
Yeah. The super high-end performers obviously don't leave any slack in the rope. They take every bit of it.
Oh, everything.
Every little bit of it, that they can get. So they want every advantage that they can get.
Because you're also setting yourself up for that next opportunity. So let me take this down real quick. I actually took this note today.
Okay.
Kind of cool. So you are either preparing for your next opportunity or you're robbing yourself of that next opportunity. So all these habits that you're creating is kind of setting yourself up so when that opportunity happens, you have the best chance of being successful at it. Because that opportunity is going to happen whether you like it or not. It's are you in the right place in your mindset? Do you have the skills? Do you have the right mindset to either convert that client or hit that goal? So you're either going to be ready for it when it hits, or it's going to pass you because you're not the right person and you're not in the right state in order for it to happen full circle.
Yeah, so you'll either capitalize or it will have to be a learning opportunity for you.
Yeah.
One or the other.
A very expensive learning opportunity that may never come back again.
That's right. That's right. And that's you have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make mistakes. Not everything's going to work out perfectly. But how can you have fewer learning opportunities and more conversions, right? On whatever it is that you're doing. For some people, a conversion might be, converting a client from a prospect to a sale or something like that. Or it could be for someone who's trying to lose weight. It could be, getting below a certain number. And all those things have the same building blocks, which I think is what the title of the segment is looking at and focusing on your habits. Now, when you talk about hitting your goals, you've made some huge goals for Team Manzon.
Yep, huge.
Just astronomical goals. So, how do you, first of all, go about setting goals? I don't think a lot of people know how to do it or what to do it. They just say things that are very general. Like, how specific do you need to get when you're saying, all right, this is my goal?
So, in order for a goal to be, let's say attainable, it needs to be, number one, it has to be measurable. You can't just say, my goal is to be a better person tomorrow than I am today. Like, what does that mean when you take it down to like a measurable science? It means you could say, my goal is to read one book a day. That's something that's measurable that can be done on a timeline, therefore you get closer to your goal. So what we do is we create our 5-year goal for our team, and I'm gonna say it live because it's pretty scary. In 5 years, our goal is to be at 1,000 transactions a year. So our goal is to do 1,000 transactions a year at year 5. So we've backed it up, and by year 4, I don't have my numbers in front of me, I think it's 750, and then year 3, we want to get to, I think it was like 550, and then working our way backwards to now. Then we looked at our conversion ratio, what is it going to take, and what kind of team do we need to have in place in order to hit our 5-year goal. So we have measurable benchmarks, we have a deadline, and we put it in front of us every single day so that we're always reminded that this is our goal, and that by doing these key activities every single day will result in a big goal at the end.
Yeah, and that's really, so you have to have a measurable goal because there's no other way to sort of calculate how to get there, is what you're saying. Some people, and we don't want to just say, hey, everyone's goal is to be number one or just that. A lot of people's goal is to just keep things as they are. Okay, great. Well, what's that going to take? So, and what habits do you need in order to do that? I mean, if you're perfectly happy in the world and everything's going great for you, fantastic. But you're still going to have to, because things change constantly. So how are you going to maintain this? How are you going to keep that job? How are you going to keep your wife happy? Like, you still have to look at something.
Yeah.
There's something that has to be looked at, no matter what it is that your goal is. If you say, oh, I'm happy, I don't need goals. Your goal is then to stay the same. So you got to think about that.
And I think like staying complacent sometimes is your excuse to not be great. Because there's a lot of people that say, I'm happy with where I am and I'm happy, and that's totally cool. And yet, if I were to say, if you made an extra $10,000 next year and everything stayed the same, would you want that? They would say, yes, of course I would. So it's not that you don't want more. Sometimes it's like your excuse and your buyout and reasoning to yourself to not either fail or not work harder or not go for it. You know what I mean?
I think it's an excuse.
It could be. I mean, I personally think that everybody wants more. Like, why wouldn't you want more? You might be happy with the way things are now, but maybe you want a happier relationship. What if I told you next year everything could stay the same, but would you want your relationship and your spouse to be even happier than they are now? Well, of course you'll say yes. And for you to not want to make that happen for them could be like your buyout to not push further and make that happen.
Gotcha. Interesting. So a psychological game almost of excuses. Excuses are, let's talk about excuses. Because excuses are a big deal. They come up all the time. And have you ever, do you know Jocko Willink?
I don't.
Jocko, he wrote a book called Extreme Ownership, which is basically, he's a former Navy SEAL, kind of an inspirational, motivational speaker. And his book, Extreme Ownership, is 100% about owning everything that you do, being completely responsible for everything that you do and where you are at all times, because it's your decisions that got you there. And so he has a whole book about that. It's really, really good stuff.
That sounds great.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. But basically, it's just like no excuses. Like there aren't any. So just never, ever, ever make an excuse ever again. Because when you do, you're admitting, in his mind, in the Navy SEAL's mind, you're admitting weakness.
True.
You're admitting that you weren't strong enough to do the right thing, or you're not strong enough to own it.
Your excuses are either holding you back from getting where you want to go, or it's holding you back. Well, actually, it's the same thing. It's, let's say, for instance, you're a brand new agent. And when I first started, I was 24 years old, and my excuse that I told myself when I first started, I got rid of that real quick, was I'm too young to be in this business. No one's going to take me seriously. And then all the older agents would be like, oh, he's too young in this business. He's not going to make it. And then once I started producing a lot and I started doing a lot of business, everyone's new excuse was, oh, the reason why he's doing so good is because he's young. You know, so it's like the excuse is always going to be there, whether you're doing great or you're not doing great. You know what I mean? So it's like those excuses will either keep you from getting where you want to go, whether you're brand new or even if you're experienced. Those excuses of I'm happy with where I'm at or I don't need this also keep you from getting to the next level also. So it also keeps you in complacency.
Yeah, no, but it's something that is, we're sort of riddled with it now. Everyone is afraid to be wrong. It's the basis of all conflict in the world. I'm right, you're wrong. No one wants to own their situation, their circumstance. That seems to be the overall overarching thing. And so when you look at excuses, do they help you is the first question. No, they don't. If you read Extreme Ownership, you'll find that it does absolutely nothing for you. So you can just go ahead and just get rid of it completely. Okay, here's where I am. Regardless of how I got here, doesn't matter. What matters is what I do right now. So what am I going to do right now? Am I going to look at reforming habits or creating good habits? Like for example, we talked earlier about someone who wants to lose 100 pounds. Well, what kind of habits do you need to create? Diet, exercise, you know, whatever. What kind of bad habits do you need to kick? You know, the late night ice cream or whatever it is, you know. You come up with something and then you're able to actually formulate a plan that will realistically get you to your goal. A lot of people have habits. First thing in the morning, they look at their phone.
Sure.
Or they, first thing in the morning, they drink a cup of coffee, whatever it is. Are those habits helping you get to where you want to go? That's the question you have to ask, right?
Yeah, are they? And a lot of the times you know what you have to do. It's just you don't have someone to hold you accountable to getting to your goal. So, I mean, everybody knows you want to lose weight, what do you have to do? Eat less, exercise. Everybody knows that. When you want to do more business in real estate, lead generate more and just keep lead generating more. Like that's the activity, but nobody holds you accountable. So a lot of the times, and that I think that's the key difference between like a very high-end performer and someone who has a natural ceiling of achievement is in order to break through that natural ceiling of achievement. So, for instance, there's Agent A and Agent B. Agent A may be way more talented than Agent B, and Agent A, natural ceiling of achievement will get them, let's say, 15 transactions a year. It's going to take you a certain level of accountability and leverage and training to break through that ceiling of achievement, whereas Agent B might only have a low threshold of maybe 10 transactions a year, but if they have more leverage in place and better habits and better accountability, they could probably do way more business than A because they've studied themselves, they know their habits, they have the right people in place to ultimately peak more performance for them.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's true. And while we're on real estate, let's just dive into that for a second.
Yeah,
because,
let's do it.
I mean, how are things looking in Chula Vista? I know the market's hot. There still seems to be a lot of really good deals, though, down there.
There are a lot of great deals, and to be honest, it is hot, and yet we are seeing a big slowdown right now. Right now, what I have in my notes, average days on market is 29 days. So in Chula Vista, that's like the average. All houses across the board, 29 days is the average days on market. It did go up slightly from 27 days a month previously.
29 is still really quick.
Still pretty quick, yeah.
I mean,
it's very fast. And one thing that we're dealing with specifically as a team, and I'm sure people listening out there, is we're finding that a lot of the move up buyers or move up down buyers, the ones who need to sell and buy, are having a lot of challenges right now getting to that next property. Therefore, they're not able to sell their property. You know what I mean? So
they're stuck in the catch-22.
They're stuck, yeah. And a lot of people, we're seeing that a lot in the market right now. We're seeing a lot of rent backs, which is fine. And yet some sellers don't want to do rent back. They're saying, I only want to move once I find my replacement property. And sometimes they're not able to find that replacement property, so everything stays stagnant. Right now, I mean, I've experienced this personally in the past 3 months, probably 3 times with 3 sellers, is we're getting their property sold, top dollar, everything's amazing, we look like rock stars, they're happy, and then when they go to find the next property, they're being outbid, and they can't compete with the people that are not contingent selling their property.
Gotcha. Wow. So when you say slowed down, you mean just basically the amount of activity is slowed down because people are sort of stuck in a catch-22.
Yeah, yeah.
But you've got a hot market coming on, or a hot property coming on the market tomorrow.
I do, yes. So we got a new listing coming up tomorrow. It's in the desirable neighborhood of Bonita. It's at 5925 Central Avenue. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2,000 square feet. We're priced at $630. The super cool thing about this house, it is a single-story house. Chula Vista single-story houses are super hard to find right now. Bonita, if you don't know, is a little neighborhood neighboring Chula Vista, so it's super close to Chula Vista, single-story, no HOA, no Melrose, and has an amazing view.
Yeah, the no HOA, no Melrose really makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and the first time to see it is our mega open house we're having this Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 4 p.m.
That's awesome. So doing the mega open house back to back.
Yeah, back to back both days.
Get it done. Get that thing sold. So how ultimately is, I know you said the markets feel like it's slowed down a little bit. How do you ultimately advise people in the Chula Vista marketplace to take advantage of that? We're shooting a winless listing next week.
Yeah.
By the way, in Chula Vista, you'll be joining the cast.
Ooh, excited.
Can't wait to have you there. How do you tell someone who's trying to do a sell and a buy in this marketplace how to take advantage of it, or how to deal with it?
So what I always look at is motivation. Why are you looking to sell and buy? Is it because you need to downsize because you have knee surgery and you can't no longer go downstairs? The market is always going to be very fast moving, whether we're in a seller's market like it is now and it's very hot and everything's moving quickly, or if it becomes a buyer's market, properties might slow down, and yet the market that we're in San Diego, there's always going to be multiple offers on it. Maybe there might not be 5 or 6, but maybe there'll be 2 or 3. I always say look at your motivation. If the numbers make sense right now, to be honest, I don't think interest rates are going to get any better. So if you're looking at a long-term purchase and the motivation is there, then I say the people looking to buy right now are the ones that are looking long-term. Maybe not the people that are buying now and then in 2 to 3 years want to flip the property or sell it. I'm saying if you're looking to look at a long-term purchase with low interest rates, now is the best time for that.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because of some of the travels I've done recently and going and looking at real estate in other places, especially this past weekend, drove to the Bay Area.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's so different out there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So Los Gatos is about an hour or so south of San Francisco. And we know the San Francisco market is just cray.
I think it's the number 1 in the whole U.S., right?
Oh, yeah, it's just cray.
Yeah.
I mean, you go there and look at stuff, and it's just unbelievable. But then this place, this is an hour south. And there was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1,000 square foot house for 1.4.
What did you say? 2-bedroom?
1 bath.
Oh, my God.
1,000 square feet. 1.4 million. Now,
that's crazy.
This is Northern California. It's not the good California weather. This is like the cold California weather. Not even coastal.
Not even in San Francisco. It's 1 hour south of that.
Yeah, it's an hour south. Not coastal. Not anywhere. Just Los Gatos. I don't know what's so great about this
I've never
place.
heard of that place. So when you said Los Gatos, I was just pretending like I knew.
Dude,
so
I never heard of it either.
Yeah.
But that's where all the money in the world is, apparently.
Jeez.
And then I got online, and I started looking at houses there, and there's nothing under $1 million. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Nothing. And a lot of $3, $4, $5, $6, $8, $9 million houses.
Jeez.
Like $9 million house, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bathrooms, 4,000 square feet, $9 million. $9 million.
Dang.
And then I'm sitting here and I'm going, well, you could go find a house like that, probably just like that in Chula Vista or East Lake.
Yeah.
For 700.
Oh, way less than that.
Maybe
even.
650.
2-bedroom, 1 bath.
No, I'm talking about the 4-bedroom.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. There's no 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
No.
That'd be crazy.
No. Yeah, the 4-bedroom.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so, if you really look at that, San Diego's an international real estate marketplace now, and so if you're looking for a place to buy in California, San Diego still looks extremely attractive.
Yeah.
In comparison to a lot of these places. I mean, that was a mind boggler for me. I knew San Francisco was crazy. I already knew that. I look at that all the time. Los Gatos, you never heard of it?
No.
I'd never heard of it. And there's people there that are dropping big bills, man, on nothing special.
Yeah, and I think once affordability, I mean, I think we'd already say affordability is way too, is it low or too high?
Affordability is not there.
Yeah, affordability is not there, so you're going to see a lot of those buyers start to move south. And I mean, when you compare Chula Vista and even San Diego as a whole to that, I mean, gosh, you get so much more.
Yeah, tons of bang for your buck still, I think, and lots of good value still there.
Yeah.
But for people, so we're talking about motivation. So for someone's motivation being the key, and buyers being more long-term buyers now, what does that mean for people who are on the sell side? I mean, does that change what they need to do?
Well, I mean, every scenario is so different. You know, it depends on the seller's reason for selling. If we take the scenario like someone wants to sell and they want to travel the world, honestly, I think now is the best time to do it. I mean, sellers have been waiting for this market for 10 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, back in 2007, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait and the prices dropped. Everyone's like, okay, we got to wait for prices to come back. It's been 10 years, and now like sellers have been waiting for this market just to break even and even surpass the peak. So, I mean, if you're thinking about selling and you want to travel the world and that's your motivation, I mean, now, to be honest, I think is the perfect time. There's a lot of sellers in 2007 that were like, you know what, I just want to wait till prices go a little bit higher. I just want to wait for a little bit higher. And now 10 years later, they had to wait for that to happen because they missed it. And I don't think it's worth right now the risk of trying to get those extra few $1,000 to where you know you could walk away right now with some money.
Bird in the hand, man. Bird
Yeah.
in the hand. Yeah, so it depends on your goals. I love the way that everything you're doing is goal-oriented. I love what you're doing with Team Manzon. It's great stuff. The mega open houses have been crushing it. And of course, good luck to you on the set of Win This Listing next week. Not that you need it. I know you'll be very prepared. Everyone loves the booklets that you bring, the little custom booklet. They love that.
That's key. I love it too.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Every time. I was like, did you see this? So we have that coming up. Anything else coming up for Team Manzon in the near future?
You know, we got our coming soon listings. I think we have about 8 in the pipeline coming soon. So I would say not ready to promote, and yet we got 8 coming up pretty soon in the next 2 months.
Okay, so lots of properties. So if you're wanting to talk to the listing agent directly, then you might want to call Team Manzon today.
Yeah, call us.
Fantastic stuff. Anthony Manzon, thank you so much for coming in today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you. And don't forget, you are not in control of your future. Your habits are. So make sure you make good ones. Have a good one, everybody.